Hey y'all, I'm James Wright and welcome to my shop. Today I want to talk about hand tools. The most common question I get by far is, there are no places around me where I can find hand tools. Where do I go to get hand tools? And I want to kind of answer that once and for all. So today we're going to be looking at a couple places that have recently gone and what they offer, as well as a resource which will help you find hand tools anywhere in the world, particularly in the US, but I'm also trying to add in Europe and Asia and other places in there. So let's dive in and take a look at it. A couple weeks ago, I went out to Oregon and went to the Pacific Northwest Tool Collectors meet. And they have a meet that happens once every 2 years called the Best in the West. And it is a huge gathering of hand tool collectors, users, people buying, people selling. Basically, the biggest place you can go on the West Coast to find hand tools. It happens once every 2 years. But then they do have regular meets that happen in Oregon and Washington that happen regularly. And there you can find tools to buy, huge collections, auctions, people to meet and talk to and swap resources about where they find tools and other great resources on the history of hand tools. It is a fantastic resource in general for hand tools, especially if you're on the West Coast, because the big meet happens once every 2 years. If you're anywhere out there, California up into Canada, it's definitely worth the trip. But one of the big reasons why I went out there is to try and find locations and sources for people out on the West Coast. Where do they find hand tools? And so I was able to compile some of those into a map. And so I've created a map of the entire United States and of the rest of the world. And there's a bunch of sources in Australia, in Europe, and I'm trying to add more into it. So if you have any sources about where you find hand tools, antique stores, swap meets, tool meets, let me know and I will add those to the map as well. I also have a source of websites that regularly list hand tools for sale, antique hand tools. I'm not talking about new hand tools because most people know those sites. So when most people are looking for hand tools around them, there are the normal places that I like to tell people to go. You know, you have your regular flea markets, swap meet. In Europe, they're usually called like a car boot sale. You also have estate sales and auctions and things like that most people tend to think about. Antique stores, occasionally you can find it. And on the map that I'm creating, I'm also listing in antique stores that are known to carry hand tools. So you can look for those sources as well. But then there's also stores around that are specifically designed for antique tools, as well as collectors who sell online, not just through eBay, but they'll actually have a website listing all the tools they have for sale. And those can be fantastic resources. But the best places by far are tool collector meets, and these happen around the world. The biggest group is the Midwest Tool Collectors, which is having their national meet coming up in September, the 27th, I think it is, in Iowa. And this is the biggest meet in the entire world for hand tools. This is where people come to find what they are looking for. And literally people come from all over the world to come to one of these national Midwest tool meets. Now that's not to say that the Midwest Tool Collectors isn't the only meet. There's also a Southern Tool Collectors, there is California, there's out west, there is New England, there is Australia, there is Europe, there's Canada, and I've listed all of those associations as well. And most of those associations, you actually become a member, so you pay a yearly fee of 10 to 25 bucks. And then you go to the events and you have to then pay to get into the event as well. But you get a resource that is beyond anything else when you're talking about antique hand tools. So definitely worth becoming a member of your local group. And going to their meets is really one of the best places where you can buy hand tools. And most of my hand tools, probably 60% of my tools, I have purchased at a Midwest Tool Collectors meet or one of the other ones. So if you have any source or location where you buy hand tools, please let me know in the comments below. I do want to add those in and keep going back to the website with the map and other information. You will find that that gets updated, and as I find more information, I'll add more information on there. I really want to create a big data resource that anyone can go to and realize that there are places to buy hand tools all over. I've had people regularly, when they contact me and say, I can't find any place to find hand tools around me, I'll send them a link and they'll be like, wow, that's like 3 miles away from me. That actually happened this last week at the Pacific Northwest Tool Collectors. A guy found out about it and realized that it was just down the block from where he lived. So that's about it. Definitely tell me about where you like to buy hand tools. Go take a look at the resources and see if there's anything in there I'm missing. And I'm looking forward to building this database and helping people out all around the world. If you have any questions, thoughts, ideas, please let me know. I do read all the comments and I'm looking forward to seeing what you have to say. I also want to say a huge thank you to patrons on Patreon. You guys are the people who have made this last trip possible, and I'm looking forward to making more trips and finding more places around the world where we can buy hand tools. Speaking of which, I am going to be at Makers Central this coming May in UK, and I'm hoping to find some more resources there and put those on the site as well. So that's about it for today, and until next time, have a wonderful day.